Hello everyone, it's it's Red with RedDragonLeo.com. It is Saturday, June 29th. Just want to do this little update for you and look at what I'm expecting for next week. I'm looking right now at the Dow, and the Dow closed at 14,909.60. What I'm expecting to happen next week is after I move back down in both the SPX and the Dow in the morning, Monday morning, which is where I expect them to move down some. I think it's going to complete a wave 2 down, or a B wave, if you want to call this. If you call this whole move up a big A wave, then this is a B wave down. Then I think we're going to have one more move up, and I think where it's going to hit is the trend line from here to here, which is obviously not drawn. So I will draw it for you just to kind of let you know, but yeah, right there. And of course I'm cutting through that right there, but you get the idea kind of about right there. Let's extend it on out. And you can see some double resistance, 15,250. So if we go down Monday morning, you have to understand that it's the 4th of July. Thursday of next week. You got to expect that there's going to be some light volume throughout the week. Even Monday it will be light volume, but especially when you get to Wednesday and Friday, there's going to be light volume. Traders are going to leave. This is the first pullback the market has had that's decent from this move up. You've got to expect the traders to come in and look at this line of support and this line and decide to buy it. Now this line here, as you can see, goes back to March 9th, 2009, the low. You got to expect them to buy it. And with the light volume, the holiday, they're going to keep the market up. It's just the way they do this. Let's look at this on a yearly chart, and you can see where this important line has come. And they have broken through it the first time, and it could bounce off of it again if they dip down that low on Monday. I don't know how far low they're going to go on Monday, but I do believe they'll put a low in the morning, and then they'll turn and they'll bounce it back up to hit this line right here, which is going to extend out. By the end of the week, it'll be about 15,200. It's going to just put in a lower high. And there's a multitude of reasons for that, but the most obvious one is down here. Looking at this yearly chart on the Dow, you can see we are very deep in the negative territory here. We went down as low as negative 100 on the MACD line, and then as we're back up here at about 60 or something. I believe that they're going to go positive with a few days positive. This one here, they only went positive one day, and here I think we're going to get 2 or 3 positive days out of it before we roll back over. This needs to go a little bit higher. I really feel like it needs to get up here to, I don't know if it's going to get to the 0 line or not, but the MACD bars I think are going to go positive, and then this will get up close to the 0 line, maybe not quite all the way up there, and then it will roll back over and drop the following week after next week, after the 4th of July. That's when I expect it to just roll over and continue back down. But it's like when you're already on the bottom and you're already pretty low like this, you have to bounce back up first before you can drop again to a lower low. And it was just pretty low at that point. You can see they did the same thing over here in this area. They bounced back up and they put in only one over here and back in November, and then they dropped to much deeper, down to negative 170 or something like that. I'm looking for the same kind of scenario. You can also see how they have that massive day right there. That was kind of that was an up day. Now look at the volume on that up day, over 400 million on the Dow. That was amazing that they had so much on that one up day. So you can tell that was insiders buying as amateurs were selling. The insiders were buying. They knew that it was bottoming, and they knew that there was going to be a move up. So you can call it a capitulation on the amateurs selling out the retail, and on the same aspect, you knew that the insiders were starting to accumulate there. And so Let's look at this on the 5-year chart so we can get the weekly, to get the perspective on the weekly. You can see on the weekly we're clearly rolling over. This is why you're not going to have more than 1 week of positive positive close, or 2 weeks, something like that. You're going to continue down, and it's just going to get weaker and weaker. Right now, what it's doing is trying to stay on this trend line right here. And again, that one's from March 9th, 2009. Market pierced it week before last, pierced it again this week, came back up and stayed and closed above it. That's why we had the close where we had it. And it was important that they closed on it. So it's weakening. But once this trend line breaks, you're going to see it go much, much deeper. Let's look at the ES here and get an idea on it. On the, obviously, we can't really look at the weekly on it because that's ES. Let's look at the 1 year. You can see the same thing. We've got this channel right here that the market had pierced through, and I believe it's going to break out after a pullback Monday again and go on up here and hit the 1640 area, which will drop down a little lower. Same thing here. It's just too far down to get a whole lot more selling. It needs to get back up here to -5 on the MACDs, maybe even 0. Put in 1 or 2 or 3 positive days. Over here, you only put in 1. We know it's weak because of the weekly chart, but we know that it should attempt to come back up higher this time around than the previous attempts. You can see again, here's the channel. It pierced through it, and here's the most important trend line at all of all, which is about, again, 1640 area there, and it will drop lower to maybe 1635 or even 1630 Friday of next week. But I do believe that is going to be hit. That is your major resistance of where I think we're going to stop at. And you can look at the other things like the 2-hour chart. Give yourself you can see the 2-hour chart should take us down in the morning, and then it'll probably, if we do a line right here, it'll probably curl back up a little bit and turn back up. You probably look at the 4-hour chart and the same kind of thing. You can see how deep it was. It's down here at -10, -12.5. It should go down here and get some support at the 0 line and turn back up. So I don't think this move is over yet. Is over. So if they were to go down here to 1580 on Monday, I think the bulls would jump on board for the light volume. I'm not saying they're going to go that low, but if they do, I think the bulls would jump on board and run this thing up to here. Let's look at this on the SPX and see there. And it's going to be the same kind of scenario. You can see this trend line right here stopped it. And you can see this trend line right here is where it's kind of heading. And I've actually went from the top here. I could actually, if I drew it from the actual closing price over to the closing price, it'd put it a little bit higher. It actually put it about 1645. That's why I still say it could go to 1640. No matter what, you're wanting to wait until you see Wednesday or possibly Friday because of the light volume. Even if it doesn't gain a whole lot of ground, maybe it only goes up and back test this 1630, but that's going to rise up and hit maybe 1635, 1640 as this one falls down. So they might meet in the middle there at 1635 by Wednesday or Friday. But you've got to go with the light volume effect and allow them to float the market higher as traders leave, and they most likely will for the holiday weekend. And then that's when they trick everybody over the holiday weekend. They'll come out with some negative news, and you'll see the Monday after that, on July the 7th, the 8th or something like that. You'll see it probably, I'm just guessing, but you'll probably see it gap down, and then just be a horrible week that whole week. That's the week you want to be short and for the market to move down really low, and that's the one that I'm expecting to happen. On the yearly chart or the daily chart, you can see here, same scenario. We're just too far oversold yet to not have a better bounce. You want to have a little bit better bounce and come back up a little bit higher before you roll back down again. On the weekly chart, it also supports that as well. And the weekly right here, you can see It's moving down quite nicely. It is heading down, and you might expect it to curl back just a little bit for 1 week as it curls back, but it is headed down. The trend is down. We're just looking for a bounce right now. And there's a lot of lines in here, but you can see this line right here on a weekly basis is pointing down to 1550. By the time that gets into 2 weeks from now, it's going to be at this 1520 area where all the support is, and that's kind of where I think we're going to stop on this first move down. And this line here that's rising up from 8/9/2011, 2 weeks from now, it could easily be there. And so you go up a little bit next week, maybe peak by Wednesday, and then, you know, if you peak on Wednesday, then you should take the sell then. If we peak on Friday, then you do it Friday. But we're looking for 1635 to 1640 area. I still believe that we're going to get that. So we can go over and look at some other charts by Ron Walker, who's always got some good charts. And you can see on his chart that we jumped up between the 130 moving average period and 65 period moving average on the 60-minute chart. But one of the charts I wanted to focus on here that you got to pay attention to again is this one. You can see how deep it is again on the 60-minute chart. It definitely tells you this needs to get back up higher before it rolls back over again. And let's see, but this moving down like this tells you Monday morning should definitely go down. Monday morning should. And possibly we stop in 1590. I don't know where we're going to stop on it, but I think it'll run back up on light volume. So you can almost draw a line right here and expect it to come down and then curl back up. And let's see here, what other charts I wanted to show you. Okay, this is an important one, the daily. You can see the daily previously on its attempted rally right here. It only got up to here before it fell back down again, and that obviously was when it hit the approximately. It was almost at zero. It was just right above it in the 5 area. It curled back up. It kind of started right about here in the 5 area, I guess, or 7 or 8 area, and then it started its rally back up. It only got to there before it rolled back over because it had too much. It was just going down with too much momentum. The weekly chart pushed it down. And now we're kind of in that same scenario where we would expect it to curl back up here a little bit and maybe put 1 or 2 positive days on it, and then it would roll over. So I'm really looking towards Wednesday, maybe Friday, but we just got to play it by ear. But I'm looking for this to get a little bit higher. I don't know if we're going to have something like this, 1 or 2 positive days. That's possible. Or maybe we just have almost just go to zero. It's hard to say, but I am looking for this to get up a little bit more and basically, again, hit this trend line, the 1640 area. And again, if you were to draw it from the closing price, it would put a little bit higher than the 1640. It might be 1645, 1650. If you were to redraw that and go from closing price to closing price. So don't be fooled. So literally it could go 1645 and come close to the 1654. The trend is definitely bearish, but these people, they do not let you short where you think it should roll over. They take it higher than you expect. They will short squeeze some people with this low volume. The computer is just going to do it. That's just the way it is. On the weekly chart, you can still see it's approaching the 50 line, and many times they have a little nick right there where they kind of, the same thing over here, when they hit 50, they tend to just kind of pause, get a bounce. In this case, over here, you would have had a sell-off for a week, and in this case, you'll have a rally for a week. So everything tells me we're going to bounce next week after a move down on Monday. So I'll be looking for Wednesday to get short, guys. I mean, that's just as simple as that. I can't put it any more simple than that. And we'll just have to go from there. So again, look for that area here. I'll put that over here one more time for you, and just look. If you draw it like this, like I did, look for a little bit higher, maybe 1645. Anyway, down on Monday of the rest of the week. See you guys.